Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're taking a look at
Lord of the Mysteries.
Lord of the Mysteries, yeah. And it was originally written in Chinese.
As a web novel, yeah.
As a web novel. And
It's been translated, though.
it has been translated, thank goodness, because I don't read Chinese. I have to admit, when I first started reading this one, I was hooked by the setting. Qinjin, this bustling port city,
Yeah.
with a very distinct,
A very distinct feel.
almost Dickensian vibe. All cobblestone streets, gas lamps, secrets lurking around every corner, with a supernatural twist.
Supernatural twist.
Yes.
Exactly.
We're going to be exploring excerpts from the novel,
Okay.
focusing on how the story blends the ordinary with the extraordinary. Struggling to make rent, while also trying to prevent a god from returning to Earth.
Yeah, very interesting mix of, like you said, the mundane and the
Just
cosmic,
the
the supernatural.
That's right.
What really struck me right away was how grounded the story felt. Despite all this, extraordinary stuff going on, you have the main character, Klein Moretti.
Yes.
He's a recent history graduate. He's facing a very familiar struggle, trying to find a job in a tough economy,
Right.
sharing a cramped apartment with his siblings. Money's tight, prospects are slim, something a lot of us can relate to, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
Klein's living this normal, relatable life.
Yeah.
When he stumbles upon a hidden diary, that completely changes everything.
Classic.
And get this, it's written in simplified Chinese.
Simplified Chinese. Okay, so that already suggests some kind of connection to our world potential.
The diary belonged to this historical figure named Rossel,
Okay.
who seemed to possess knowledge far beyond his time, even hinting at the possibility of him being a time traveler.
A time traveler.
Okay.
So we have simplified Chinese and possible time travel. This is getting interesting
Right.
right from the get-go.
And this diary is more than just a historical curiosity.
Right.
It's Klein's introduction to a hidden world where magic is real.
Magic is real. Look at
And
that.
people with supernatural abilities known as Beyonders
Beyonders.
walk among us.
Okay.
It's like suddenly discovering there's a whole other operating system
Yeah.
running beneath the reality you thought you knew.
Beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you said, that Dickensian vibe. There's so much more
Yes.
going on beneath the surface.
And this discovery isn't just theoretical for Klein.
Okay.
It becomes very real very fast.
Oh.
He actually becomes a Beyonder himself,
Wow.
embarking on a journey
Uh-huh.
that's as dangerous as it is fascinating.
So he doesn't just learn about this world. He actually becomes a part of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Before we get into all that,
Yeah.
can you explain exactly what a Beyonder is?
Sure.
It seems like a pretty important concept
It is.
in this world.
It is central to the whole story.
Okay.
Beyonders are individuals who have acquired supernatural powers by tapping into these mysterious forces that exist kind of beyond our understanding.
Okay.
You can imagine it as like unlocking some hidden potential within yourself,
Yeah.
but with the added risk of potentially lose of your sanity and transforming into a monster.
Oh, that's no good.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty high stakes
Yeah, it is.
power up.
High risk, high reward,
No wonder Klein is a bit apprehensive
understandably.
about this whole Beyonder thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that are a bit apprehensive, let's talk about Qinjin.
Okay.
We know it's this gritty industrial port city,
Right.
but beneath that surface
Yeah.
lies a whole network of secret societies
Oh, yeah.
and organizations
Yeah.
that operate in the shadows.
It really is like an iceberg, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have the visible city with its bustling markets and, crowded factories and social inequalities.
Right.
But then beneath the surface, you have this whole hidden world where Beyonders gather, exchange knowledge, and kind of vie for power.
Yeah.
One of these secret societies is called the Tarot Club.
Okay.
And that's where Beyonders communicate and trade knowledge using a system based on tarot cards.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
So Klein joins the Tarot Club
He does.
under the alias The Fool,
The Fool.
which already hints at the unpredictable and dangerous path
Yeah,
he's about to embark on.
it does.
And then there's the Nighthawks,
Oh, yeah, the Nighthawks.
who are kind of like a supernatural police force.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They investigate these mysterious occurrences.
Yes.
They deal with dangerous Beyonders, try to maintain some kind of order in this hidden world.
So like a blend of the X-Files
Exactly.
and Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Operating in the shadows, confronting threats that most people don't even know exist.
Exactly.
So Klein ends up joining the Nighthawks.
He does?
Partly out of curiosity.
Yeah.
But also for self-preservation.
He quickly learns that being a Beyonder isn't all
fun and games.
Fun and games and cool powers and secret societies.
Yeah.
There are some very real dangers involved.
Which brings us to the concept of loss of control.
Oh.
Something that seems to be a constant threat for Beyonders.
Uh-huh.
Can you explain what that means?
Sure.
And why it's so dangerous?
It's one of the most chilling aspects of this world, I think.
Yeah.
So Beyonders draw power from these mysterious pathways.
Okay.
And each pathway represents a different set of abilities and a unique sequence of advancement.
So as they progress along their chosen pathway,
Yes.
they gain more power,
Right.
but also become more susceptible to losing themselves,
Mm-hmm.
to the influences of
Yeah.
that pathway.
Yeah. It's like walking a tightrope.
Okay.
One wrong step and you could fall into the abyss of madness and become like a monstrous entity, a slave to the very power you sought to control.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's definitely added a whole layer of suspense
It does.
to this deep dive.
Yes.
Knowing that Klein is constantly
Right.
teetering on the edge
Yeah.
of losing himself
Yeah.
to his powers
To his powers.
really raises the stakes.
And it's not just a theoretical danger.
Yeah.
You know, early on in the story, some of Klein's friends die mysteriously
Oh, no.
after they get involved in deciphering an ancient text.
That's scary.
So it really highlights how real and how immediate the dangers are for those who delve into this hidden world.
Wow.
It's a real turning point, I think, for Klein.
Yeah?
It forces him to confront the fact that knowledge, especially the kind that unlocks supernatural abilities,
Yeah.
can be incredibly dangerous.
Right.
And it kind of raises that central question that we're going to be exploring throughout this whole deep dive.
Ooh, which is?
How far is too far when seeking knowledge and power?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to the next Ellen I want to unpack.
Okay.
The magic itself.
Yes. The magic.
How does magic actually work in this world? We see Klein learning and performing these rituals that seem incredibly complex,
Right.
involving very specific combinations of ordinary ingredients,
Yeah.
like herbs and crystals,
Sure.
along with
And then the more...
much more exotic things.
The more exotic ones.
Yeah. Dragon blood grass and star crystal.
Yeah.
What's the logic behind this system?
The magic system in Lord of the Mysteries is this really fascinating blend of the familiar and the fantastic.
Yeah.
It's rooted in this complex cosmology
Okay.
with layers of spiritual realms and ancient beings. And the rituals themselves are a form of symbolic communication,
Okay.
a way for Beyonders to interact with these unseen forces.
So the ingredients,
Yes.
whether mundane or exotic,
Mundane or exotic.
act as conduits,
Exactly.
focusing the Beyonder's will, channeling the desired power.
Exactly.
So it's not just about following a recipe.
It's not just about following a recipe.
Right.
Right.
There's this idea of
There's this idea of acting or playing the role. Okay.
your Beyonder pathway. Almost like method acting.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's crucial to mastering your abilities.
So it's not enough to simply know the steps.
It's not enough.
You have to embody the essence of your chosen pathway.
Yeah. You have to become the archetype that it represents.
Wow. So that adds another layer of complexity and risk
It does.
to being a Beyonder.
It does.
This whole world is so intricate, it's making my head spin.
It is.
But in a good way, of course.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the magic system and the secret societies.
Right.
There's also this strong sense of mystery
Yeah.
and intrigue that permeates everything.
It does.
We see Klein unraveling various mysteries in Tinjin,
Yes.
a kidnapping case,
Okay.
unexplained deaths, using his Beyonder abilities to piece things together.
Right.
But there's this constant feeling that he's being watched, that powerful unseen forces are observing his every move. So it's not just the dangers that he's aware of.
Yeah.
There's this unknown element as well.
Yeah.
Which, of course, begs the question,
Yes.
who is watching Klein?
And what are their motives?
Exactly.
This element of the unseen observer adds a layer of suspense
Definitely.
that keeps you constantly on edge, wondering what lurks in the shadows.
In the shadows, exactly.
Speaking of things that lurk in the shadows,
Okay.
let's get back to Rossel,
Rossel. Okay.
the mysterious diary writer who might just be a time traveler.
The mysterious diary writer. Possibly from our world.
Yeah, what else could you tell us about him? And why is his diary, written in simplified Chinese, such a standout detail?
That detail is crucial.
Yeah.
It hints at a connection between our world and the world of Lord of the Mysteries.
Okay.
It suggests that Rossel might have originated from a place very similar to our Earth,
Wow.
possibly even our Earth.
That's mind-blowing. So Rossel, this potential time traveler from our world, becomes incredibly influential in the world of Lord of the Mysteries.
He does, and the simplified Chinese isn't the only clue.
What else?
We learn that he introduced groundbreaking inventions like steam engines,
Wow.
improved sailing ships.
Yeah.
He even created the very system of tarot divination that's used by the Beyonders.
Right.
He was a true visionary, a polymath,
Yeah.
left an indelible mark on history.
He sounds like a real Renaissance man.
He does.
But why is his diary so important to Klein's journey?
Well, the diary offers these glimpses into Rossel's life.
Okay.
His thoughts, his understanding of the Beyonder world.
Yeah.
It's a source of knowledge and guidance for Klein.
Right.
But it also becomes a target for those who seek to manipulate the power that Rossel left behind.
So this seemingly ordinary diary is actually a key to unlocking deeper secrets and potentially even changing the course of history. It's like something straight out of a Dan Brown novel.
It is. It's very much a key to unlocking all these bigger mysteries.
And that brings us to another key turning point in the story.
Okay.
Klein's investigation into a missing child.
Missing child. All right.
It's a seemingly mundane case, but leads him to the heart of the Beyonder world.
Okay.
And to the realization that the stakes are far higher than he ever imagined.
Far higher.
This case takes him back to the Tarot Club, right?
It does. Back to the Tarot Club.
The place where Beyonders gather and exchange knowledge.
Right.
Under the veil of secrecy.
Right. But this time it's not just about trading secrets.
Okay.
Something much more sinister is happening.
What is it?
Klein witnesses something that shakes him to his core. The creation of an artificial Beyonder.
What?
Using a mysterious ritual.
Okay.
And a substance called spirit body fluid.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Artificial Beyonders.
Artificial Beyonders.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It is. The very idea that someone could manufacture a being with supernatural powers raises a whole host of ethical questions.
Then what about the spirit body fluid?
Yeah, what is that?
Where does it come from?
Well, it's a substance that's extracted from a deceased Beyonder.
Oh.
And it seems to hold the key to replicating their powers.
Oh, wow.
But the implications are horrifying.
Right. Because that means...
It means that someone is literally stealing the essence of a dead person to create these artificial beings.
This is getting dark.
It is.
And fascinatingly complex.
It is.
It seems like Klein is being pulled deeper and deeper into a world where the lines between good and evil, right and wrong, are becoming increasingly blurred.
They are.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a fascinating world.
It is.
Full of these moral complexities.
Yes.
We'll delve deeper into those complexities in the next part of our deep dive. But for now, dear listener, I leave you with this question.
Yeah, me?
If you were in Klein's shoes, facing the same dilemmas and dangers, what choices would you make?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I have to think about that one.
I think we all will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been thinking about that question you posed. What choices would I make if I were Klein? And honestly, I'm not sure I have an answer.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's easy to judge from a distance, but when you're faced with those kinds of moral dilemmas, especially in a world where the rules are constantly shifting, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a testament to the author's skill that they've created a world that's both fantastical and morally complex.
Yeah, I think so too.
We're not just dealing with good versus evil.
Right.
We're exploring the gray areas.
The gray areas.
Where even well-intentioned actions can have devastating consequences.
Exactly, and I think that's what makes it so compelling.
Yes.
You know, it's not just a simple
black and white
morality tale.
Right. And speaking of gray areas, let's delve deeper into the social dynamics of Tianjin.
All right, the social dynamics of Tianjin.
We know it's a city marked by stark contrasts.
Yeah.
The wealthy elite indulging in luxury, while the working class struggles to make ends meet.
Right, it's very much a Dickensian city in that way.
Does this social divide play a role in the Beyonder world as well?
Absolutely it does.
So.
Well, it's not just about money and status in the Beyonder world.
Right.
It's about access to knowledge and power.
Okay.
The existence of Beyonders and secret societies adds another layer of complexity to the existing social hierarchy.
Yeah, I can see that.
You have these powerful organizations like the Nighthawks
Right.
and the Moose Ascetic Order who control secret knowledge and resources, while others are left scrambling for scraps.
So even in a world of magic and mystery,
Right.
the same patterns of inequality and power dynamics emerge. It's like the supernatural elements are amplifying the existing social issues, making them even more stark and consequential.
Exactly. And this is where the story becomes more than just an adventure. I think it's a reflection of our own world.
In a way, in the challenges that we face.
Yeah, and how power, whether supernatural or social, can be used to control and manipulate others.
It's a cautionary tale.
It is.
But it's also a story about resilience and hope.
Yeah, I think that's an important point.
Despite the dangers and moral complexities, Klein never loses sight of his humanity.
Yeah.
He's constantly trying to do what he believes is right, even if it means challenging the status quo and facing powerful adversaries.
He does, and that's one of the things that makes him such a compelling protagonist, I think.
I agree.
You know, he's not a superhero.
Right.
He's an ordinary person thrust into extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah.
He makes mistakes, he doubts himself.
Right.
But he never gives up on his quest for truth and justice.
Speaking of ordinary people, I'm curious about Klein's siblings.
Oh, yeah. Benson and Melissa?
Benson and Melissa.
Okay.
We know they're very much part of his everyday life.
Right.
But how do they factor into his Beyonder journey?
Okay, so initially...
How do they know about his secret life?
Not initially, no. Klein tries to shield them.
Of course.
From the dangers of the Beyonder world.
Right.
But as he gets drawn deeper into this hidden realm, it becomes increasingly difficult to keep his two lives separate.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up appearances when you're dealing with all these supernatural forces.
Exactly.
So his brother, Benson,
right,
is a very practical and grounded person.
Yeah.
Representing the stability and normalcy that Klein is trying to hold on to.
Exactly.
He often gives Klein advice.
He does.
About financial responsibility and staying out of trouble.
Right.
Unaware that his brother is battling supernatural threats
on
a regular basis.
He's like the voice of reason. The anchor to Klein's ordinary life.
And what about Melissa?
Melissa, okay.
Their younger sister.
Yeah, she's a student.
She's a student.
Bright and curious, but also somewhat sheltered.
Okay.
She represents innocence and the potential for a future untouched by the darkness that Klein has encountered. Right. Initially, she remains oblivious to her brother's Beyonder activities.
Okay.
But as the story progresses, she becomes increasingly aware that something is different about Klein.
That he's
carrying a heavy burden.
It's interesting how these siblings represent different facets of Klein's life.
Yeah.
The normalcy he longs for.
Yeah.
The responsibility he feels to protect them.
Right.
And the potential consequences if his secret life is exposed.
Exactly. And they're not just passive bystanders either.
Okay.
They play a crucial role, I think, in Klein's emotional development.
In what way?
Well, he's constantly wrestling with this dilemma of keeping them safe while also yearning for connection and honesty. It adds a layer of emotional depth to his character.
Okay.
You know, it's not just about the powers and the mysteries.
Right.
It's about these very human relationships.
And it reminds us that even in a world of magic and monsters, the bonds of family
are
incredibly powerful.
They are.
We've talked a lot about the dangers that Klein faces. What about the rewards?
The rewards, okay.
What are some of the benefits of being a Beyonder?
Besides, you know, having superpowers.
Yeah, besides the obvious. Like being able to influence minds.
Right.
See into the spirit world.
And potentially even manipulate reality itself.
Yeah.
Being a Beyonder opens up this whole new world of knowledge and experience.
It's like stepping through a door.
Yeah.
Into a realm.
Exactly.
That most people only glimpse.
Right.
In myths and legends.
Yeah. You become privy to a secret language.
Okay.
This hidden dimension of reality.
And with that knowledge comes a sense of power.
Yes.
But
also a heavy responsibility.
It's a constant balancing act.
Yeah, it is.
Wielding power without succumbing to its temptations. Seeking knowledge without losing yourself in its depths.
Exactly.
It's the theme that resonates throughout history, isn't it?
It is. It's a timeless struggle.
The allure of forbidden knowledge.
Yeah.
The desire for power.
Right.
And the struggle to maintain our humanity in the face of extraordinary circumstances.
It is. And I think Klein embodies that struggle in a very compelling way.
I agree.
You know, he's not immune to the temptations of power,
Right.
but he's also aware of the dangers.
Yeah.
He's constantly questioning his choices,
Uh-huh.
weighing the risks and benefits,
Right.
trying to navigate this complex world without losing his moral compass.
Speaking of moral compasses,
Yeah.
one of the things that struck me about the world of Lord of the Mysteries
Uh-huh.
is the diversity of its characters.
Oh, yeah. The characters are amazing.
We've encountered wealthy socialites, hardworking clerks, secret agents,
Talking cats.
even talking cats.
Yeah,
Each character brings a unique perspective to the story,
they do.
and they often challenge Klein's assumptions about the world.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the strengths of the world building. It feels lived in and authentic.
Mhm.
You have characters from all walks of life, each with their own motivations and beliefs.
Okay.
And they're not just cardboard cutouts.
Right.
They have depth and complexity.
Yeah.
They often surprise you
Okay.
with their actions and choices.
Like Audrey Hall,
Audrey Hall.
the wealthy socialite,
Right.
who initially seems like a spoiled rich girl,
Yeah.
but who reveals a genuine desire
Yeah.
to help others
Uh-huh.
and a fascination with the unknown.
Yeah.
She's a complex character who defies easy categorization.
She does.
And then there's Roseanne,
Roseanne, yeah.
receptionist at Blackthorn Security,
You get Blackthorn Security.
where
right.
Klein works undercover.
Right.
She's practical,
Yeah.
hardworking,
Mm-hmm.
and provides a sense of grounding for Klein.
He does.
In the midst of all the chaos,
Right, in the midst of all the chaos.
she's a reminder that even in a world of magic and mystery,
Uh-huh.
there's still beauty
There is.
and normalcy to be found
Yeah.
in everyday life.
And it's those moments of connection with ordinary people
Yeah.
that help keep Klein grounded
Uh-huh.
and prevent him from losing himself completely to the beyonder world.
So it's a constant tug of war
It is.
between his two lives.
Two lives.
And it's what makes his
This
journey.
is relatable.
We all have different facets to our identities, different roles we play in society.
Yeah.
Klein struggled to balance these competing aspects of himself.
It resonates with the human experience, even in this fantastical setting.
So we have a protagonist grappling with moral dilemmas,
Okay.
a city teeming with secrets and supernatural forces,
Mhm.
and a social structure
Right.
that mirrors the complexities of our own world.
It does.
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here?
What new challenges await Klein as he delves deeper into the beyonder world?
Well, remember that feeling of being watched. That Klein's been experiencing,
Yeah.
that sense of unseen forces observing his every move.
Yes, and it's very creepy.
Well, things are about to get a lot more intense.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Is he going to come face to face with whoever or whatever has been lurking in the shadows?
Let's just say the answers are more complicated and more unsettling
Okay.
than he could have imagined.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. We'll unpack all those revelations
Okay.
in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay. I am back and definitely feeling the weight of those unsettling revelations you hinted at. Knowing that Klein is not only navigating the dangers of being a beyonder, but also being watched by some unknown entity adds a whole other level of tension to this story. It's like he's playing a high-stakes game of chess, but he doesn't even know who all the players are.
That's a great analogy, because Klein's journey is very much about strategy and deception. He's constantly having to think several steps ahead, anticipating his opponent's moves while trying to figure out their true motives. And remember those glimpses into Rossel's diary? Those turn out to be more than just historical curiosities. They become crucial pieces in this complex puzzle.
It seems like every detail matters in this world. Every seemingly insignificant event could be connected to a larger conspiracy. It's making me paranoid just thinking about it. But before we spiral down that rabbit hole, can we finally reveal who's been watching Klein? I need some answers.
The answer is as fascinating as it is unsettling. Remember the Moose Ascetic Order, the organization that created those artificial beyonders? Well, they're not just dabbling in forbidden knowledge. They're obsessed with the ancient sun god, this powerful being from the past who they believe will return and reshape the world.
Okay, that's definitely giving me some serious cult vibes. But how does Klein fit into all this?
Yeah.
Why are they watching him?
They believe Klein has a special connection to the ancient sun god, possibly due to his possession of Rossel's diary and his progress along the Fool pathway. They need him to perform specific rituals and access certain knowledge that only he can.
So he's like a key to their grand plan, a pawn in their game to resurrect a god.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure for one person to handle, especially someone who's still relatively new to the Beyonder world.
It is. And it
Yeah.
puts Klein in an incredibly difficult position. He's being targeted by this powerful organization, but they're also offering him something he desperately wants: advancement on his Beyonder pathway. Remember, he's stuck at Sequence 9, and the Nighthawks don't have the knowledge or resources to help him progress further.
So he's faced with a choice: remain loyal to the Nighthawks and risk being left behind in terms of power, or cooperate with the Mu's ascetic order and potentially become complicit in their dangerous scheme. Talk about a moral dilemma. What does he do?
This is where Klein's character really shines. He doesn't make a rash decision. He carefully weighs his options, gathers information, and even tries to manipulate the Mu's ascetic order to his advantage. He's not just reacting to events, he's actively shaping them, using his intellect and his growing Beyonder abilities to stay one step ahead.
It's like he's learning to play the game on his own terms, refusing to be a pawn in someone else's game. But I have to ask, if the Mu's ascetic order is so powerful, why do they even need Klein? Couldn't they just force him to cooperate?
They could try, but it's not that simple. Remember, Beyonders draw power from their pathways, and those pathways are influenced by their beliefs and actions. If they force Klein to act against his will, it could backfire spectacularly. They need him to willingly participate in the rituals, to embrace their beliefs in order for their plan to succeed.
So it's not just about physical control, it's about mental and spiritual manipulation. They need to corrupt Klein from the inside out to make him believe in their cause. That's even more sinister than I initially thought.
It is, and it speaks to a recurring theme in Lord of the Mysteries: the seductive nature of power and the dangers of unchecked ambition. Even those who believe they're acting for the greater good can become corrupted by their pursuit of power.
It's a cautionary tale, but it's also a story about resistance. Despite the pressure and manipulation, Klein never fully succumbs to the Mu's ascetic order's influence. He maintains a sense of self, a core of morality that guides his actions.
He does, and that inner strength is ultimately what allows him to survive and even thrive in this dangerous world. He learns to question everything, to trust his instincts, and to fight for what he believes in, even when the odds are stacked against him.
Speaking of fighting, one of the things I loved about this story is how Klein uses his knowledge of history and his Beyonder abilities to solve mysteries and outwit his opponents. It's not just about brute force, it's about strategy cunning and using your intellect to your advantage.
Absolutely. Remember that case where he used a combination of tarot divination and dream interpretation to find a missing child? It was brilliant. He even uncovered a connection to a shadowy organization that was experimenting with creating artificial Beyonders, which, as we know, ties back to the Mu's ascetic order.
Now, what about that chilling encounter with the spirit of his deceased friend Welch? It was both terrifying and insightful, revealing the consequences of dabbling with forbidden knowledge and the potential for corruption within the Beyonder world.
These cases weren't just side quests. They were opportunities for Klein to test his abilities, gather information, and learn about the hidden workings of the Beyonder world. Each mystery he solved brought him closer to understanding the larger forces at play and his own role in the grand scheme of things.
It's like he's piecing together a puzzle, and each case is another piece that helps him see the bigger picture. But it's also a dangerous game with consequences that can be both personal and far-reaching.
Exactly. And as Klein gets closer to the truth, the stakes get higher. He has to make difficult choices, some of which have unintended consequences that ripple through the Beyonder world and even affect his relationships with those closest to him.
It's a reminder that actions have consequences, and even the most well-intentioned choices can lead to unexpected outcomes. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Lord of the Mysteries, what are the key takeaways? What have we learned from exploring this world of magic mystery and moral ambiguity?
On the surface, it's a thrilling adventure filled with supernatural powers, secret societies, and mind-bending mysteries. But beneath that surface lays a deeper exploration of human nature, our thirst for knowledge, our capacity for both good and evil, and the choices we make when faced with extraordinary circumstances.
It's a story that challenges us to question our assumptions about the world, to consider the consequences of our actions, and to remember that even in the darkest of times, hope and resilience can prevail.
And who knows, maybe it even makes us wonder what secrets might be lurking beneath the surface of our own seemingly ordinary world. Because as Lord of the Mysteries reminds us, the truth is often stranger than fiction.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time for us to emerge from the depths of Tingen, our minds buzzing with new insights and a renewed sense of wonder. Until next time, dear listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and remember, the world is full of mysteries waiting to be uncovered.